Hi, everybody. If you've been following me in This Week in New York, you know that I have some opinions on theater etiquette. In August 2025, Washington Post published an article called The 37 Definitive Rules of Going to the Theater. Everything you need to know about seats, coats, eating, drinking, clapping, peeing, compliments, autographs, and not being a jerk to those around you, which really is the essence of the problem. It was written by Naveen Kumar, Shane O'Neill, Thomas Floyd, Sophia Solano, Hannah Sampson, and Zachary Pincus Roth. I am not going to evaluate all 37, but over the next couple of weeks, I'm going to take one at a time, the ones that really I feel need to be either lambasted or celebrated. And I will post the link to the article below here. So the one that I want to start with is really right, it's at the beginning of the show, and it's the dreaded entrance applause. I've spoken before about how much I can't stand entrance applause. What the Post article says is that it's fine. You can clap when George Clooney enters, or refuse on principle and feel superior. To each their own. Now, I've got a bone to pick with that. When I don't want to give entrance applause, it's not because I feel superior. It's because I am there for a fictional experience. Well, the experience itself is real, but the story I'm being told, it's a bunch of people on stage pretending to be somebody else, telling a story that may or may not be based on fact. In the case of the George Clooney show, the Good Night and Good Luck, he was portraying the real-life character Edward R. Murrow. But the applause was for George Clooney when he first hits the stage. So immediately, you know, they're not clapping for Edward R. Murrow. They're clapping for George Clooney. So the mystique, our attempts to believe that this is a character and not a Hollywood superstar, thrown out right at the start. It's not fair to the people on the stage or the audience. What if they're, maybe not in this play, but other plays, well, even this play, who else gets entrance applause? How big is the second most well-known cast member? The third? Where do we start? Where do we stop? I've been to plays. I see a lot of plays. I see a lot of musicals. I've been to musicals especially where there's entrance applause, and I turn to the person next to me and I say, who is that? So I'm taken out of the show not just because there's entrance applause, but I don't know why this person is deserving of entrance applause. One of my favorite instances of entrance applause was at Straight Line Crazy, a show about Robert Moses at the Shed a few years ago, in which first Ray Fiennes comes out as Robert Moses, and people erupted applause because it's Ray Fiennes. And a little bit later, another character comes out, and I actually love this. The entrance applause was not, as far as I could tell, was not for the actress Mary Stillwagon Stewart, who I didn't know anything about. But she's portraying Jane Jacobs, Robert Moses' arch nemesis. And Jane Jacobs is a legendary figure, is in New York City politics and activism. So in New York, I actually loved that they were cheering for Jane Jacobs. I don't know if that play was when it was in London. I can't imagine that Jane Jacobs would get the same response. But that one I actually appreciated. This afternoon, I saw The Baker's Wife at Classic Stage. And the first scene occurs without the two big stars. And the star number one makes his appearance at the end, right at the end of the big opening number. So people are clapping for the opening number, and on walks Scott Bakula. And I actually thought to myself, yes, it took me out of the play for a few seconds, but I thought, genius. we're clapping for the rest of the cast because they just performed a terrific number. We're not clapping for Scott Bakula. So what I mean, whether it was done on purpose that way or not, wow. But then, of course, a few minutes later, star number 2, the amazing Ariana DeBose comes on, and she gets entrance applause. So it's just, but then others didn't get entrance applause, whether it was the show or others, and how do they feel? So just another reason why entrance applause, it's just another example. I was at a musical, and somebody, I don't remember who the star is. I don't think it was a huge name, but in the middle of the orchestra, about 12 rows, 15 rows in, right at the center, one guy gets up and starts hooting, hollering, clapping. And even the people on the stage, certainly the audience, we were all looking around saying, what's he doing? Because it was just one person out of 1,000. So once again, the whole experience takes you out of the play, because now I don't want to call the guy an idiot. Maybe it was his first time at the theater. Maybe it was his wife, a relative. I don't know, whoever it was, but it was embarrassing. So here's the thing with entrance applause. It's not to each their own. It's not that if you don't give entrance applause, you're superior, better than everyone around you. No, you're there to see a play, to imagine that the people on stage are not their real selves, but are characters, and they're inhabiting characters. So next time you're at the theater, and just don't applaud. Don't applaud, because you can applaud a great number, you can applaud a great scene, you can applaud a great monologue, soliloquy. Even though in essence you are cheering the actor's delivery of that. But don't give them. Plus, they haven't even done anything yet. They haven't done anything. So you're cheering George Clooney for what? You're cheering him for his career? Why? I mean, he's got a great career. Send him a text. Send him a message. Talk about him on Facebook. But he is actually Edward R. Murrow, not George Clooney when he's on that stage. So please, calm down. It'll be okay. Everybody on the stage is equal. Everybody in the audience is equal. Just let the magic flow. I'll be back with more later.